talking about in recess. That was conversational, ad hoc. But when you are raising neurodiverse kids, the first thing you got to come to grips with is accepting yourself first for who you are, for your abilities and your gifts and talents, and what you think you're doing well as a parent, and for your challenges and maybe shortcomings and things that you wish you could be better at as a parent. When you acknowledge both of those things, it humbles you to recognize that I'm not going to stand on my kid's head and demand perfection from them when perfection is not even a realistic goal. I'm not going to frustrate them because it's easy for them to be frustrated behind a world that is not constructed for them. And so I want them to feel like while the world may not be structured for you, you can come to me and get understanding that I get it. I understand it. I understand what it's like to feel different or to see the world differently or function differently in your own head and wonder why it doesn't match up with your reality of your society or your work world, your real world. So that's one of the first things I want you to do is to accept yourself. And then you model that for your kids, how they can accept themselves. And they will find a power and a strength in like, yeah, I don't need to fit in with everybody. I can stand strong and just be different by myself. I'm good with that because they've seen you do it. They've seen you give that value to being uniquely different. Like decide for yourself the person who you want to become and not be led by, the peers around you. So those are the beginning steps. The challenges become when you see your kids struggle with, the issues of executive function and things like that. And you're like, be neater or clean up or straighten up or things like that. It's a conversation, ongoing conversation that you will always have with them about teaching them that, I know that there are some things, the way you see things that make sense to you. There are some things that you'll have to learn how to just do because it's important to just do them. And for a neurodivergent kid, they always want a reason. They want it to make sense. They want logic. They want, give me the breakdown of why I should do that. There not going to be times when you're going to get that. You just need to do it. And so there's that power dynamic of leaning into like a softer version of I said because I said so. It needs to be done because there are things in the world that you will not give you explanation, will not give you all the things that you're asking for, and the expectation is that you will show up and do what you need to do. And I need you to have that capacity and that ability to do that, but also learning how to when there is space to ask questions and to get logic and to be willing to ask those questions. So supporting them in their understanding of how they see the world and teaching them that there'll be times when they can get that understanding and other times when they can't. There'll be times when there'll be flexibility in the schedule and there'll be times when it's not. And I need you to be okay with both. I need you to have capacity for that. And if it's a practice thing, if it's a meltdown thing, when they get, the biggest thing you want to do is to fall back when there's a meltdown. Say, okay, I see you're having a meltdown. I want you to go and get yourself together and we'll talk when you're calmer. Because I think one of the things that parenting in the past has consisted of is just kind of always leaning in and always, yelling at kids when they are visibly not able to process and communicate what it is they need to understand. So giving them space to kind of like, and even a meltdown doesn't have to be full on like tears and letting go. You can just visibly see a facial shift in them. And they're like, okay, they're so in their head or in their emotions that they're really not hearing what I'm saying. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to sit, get yourself together, take a break. We'll come back and revisit this when we can talk about it calmly and logically and that kind of thing. So that helps them to recognize that when I'm emotional, that's not the time to have conversations that are heavy and deep. I need to learn how to control that so that I can get solutions to solve problems, to move forward, to go better. But you'll see yourself in your kids so much, and it'll be so easy to kind of lean into either what you needed in that moment when you were a kid growing up, or what you wish your parent had done, all those things. Remember that your child, while they're your child, they're an extension of you, they're also very much separate and apart, their own person, different from you, and they see the world differently. And so being respectful, like we were talking with Angel earlier about, being respectful of the child, your child for who they are as an individual, but also in supporting that, but also teaching them that the respectability is also demanded of them or required of them as as the parent dynamic. Then we come to appreciate the nuances of all of that and respect it as they get older.